All right, in this little tutorial, you're going to learn how to use the graphics tool inside Adobe Premiere to create a lower thirds display. And what a lower thirds is when you see on a sports or news video, you see somebody's name at the bottom of the screen. So we want to approach a real quick, easy way to make that happen. And I'm going to start off by kind of going through making a new project. I'm going to call this Demo Graphics. I'm going to make sure I've got a location for it. So I'm going to put in this folder I've already got. I could check this and go choose location and make sure it's in the folder I want to be in and select folder. And then I can import some footage if I want to. So I'm going to show you how to import footage. If I open up this folder, then I can select some individual clips to look at, and I can just choose the ones I want to use. And once I click create, it's going to open up my new project inside Premiere. I'm going to click create. There we go. And so now it's making a project, and sometimes it'll actually make a new sequence with the content in it. What I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to look for the content the right size. We want to use 1920 by 1080, and hopefully I got some of that. Let's see. This is 1280. Here we go. So I'm going to take this one, drop this one into place, and so now I've got some content, and that's actually not the format I want, but it's the right size. So I'm going to go ahead and make another clip and find what I want. Double click, and so here I can edit inside the source panel. This will work fine. I'm just going to grab this and scroll over and end it and drop it in there. So now I've got this clip I want to use, and I think I'll just get rid of the other one. So all we're worried about here is how to make some graphics. So we're going to stay focused on that. To make this fit, though, I'm going to right click and choose. I'm going to choose scale the frame size. And once that's in there, I've got this thing set up and ready to rock. Now I'm going to change this, and I'm going to add some graphics on top of it. So I'm going to get the graphics tool, and different layouts will give you different choices. If I choose window and workspaces, there's a graphics layout probably. And what you're looking for here is the toolbox. You want to have the toolbox where you can use it. I'm going to bring this down and squash my space. And what I'm going to do here is get the graphics tool or the rectangle tool. Let's go with the rectangle first. And I'm just going to make a stripe across the bottom like this. And I can adjust that probably. Let's get the selection tool. And I can move that up a little bit. And I can even change the color. So for a basic version today, let's just work with white on this. And I can add more graphics to that if I want to. So now in the graphics panel, there is a layer panel. So if I choose layer panel and create a new piece, then I'm going to get the shape tool I want to use, and I could just copy the other one if I want. Just do this, and I'm going to change this fill to red. So I'm trying to make a Baylor-oriented piece. Not too bright on this. If I set this to H for HSB, then I can drag leftwards to get a slightly less saturated color, and less saturation is less demanding. So we don't want to unsaturate this all the way because this is part of our branding. So it looks pretty good. And now I can move that down using the selection tool. So now I've got an area to work with. Squash that down a bit more. So there's the thing. Now this is all showing up here. The next thing I'm going to add to this is going to be some text. So I'm just going to put the words lower thirds. Now normally your lower thirds wouldn't say lower thirds. It would be somebody's name and title. So we're looking for name and title on this. And if I go over here and scroll down, I can change the color of the text. Now the text choices fill up more area than just the shapes. So that's why it looks different over here. And I'm going to choose a different font. I'm going to choose Arial Pro. The minion that's in there is a serif font. And for this, typically we're going to use a sans serif font. Sans serif means it does not have all the embellishments. So an example of a serif font would be if I use Times New Roman. Okay, so in this case, we have a serif font, and serifs are these little embellishments on the edges of the letters. And typically for broadcast stuff, we're going to use, in news especially, we're going to use a basic font like Arial. And I'll go Arial bold on this one, and that looks pretty good. And you could even alt-drag that over, I think. I guess you can't. Sometimes you can do that. Let's scroll up to the top, and I'm going to duplicate this. So if I right-click on it and choose Duplicate, then I can take one of these and move it over. Like this. There we go. And I might make that one smaller, so that's the title. So my size of my text is going to be down here. It says number near the font. just by dragging that down a little bit. Let's change this to like 80%. And let's write what would be in here. So I'm going to choose this one, put name, and over here I'm going to put the term title. Okay, so if somebody's name and title would go on there, you want to align those two things to each other. To get them aligned, you can choose them both, and there's actually an align panel built into this. So I'm going to choose the one that aligns horizontally across the bottoms like this, and that looks okay-ish. Let's deselect it. Apparently I'm not really sure how to deselect it. Okay, so I got these, and I'm going to take the title one and move it over a little bit, and just go like this. And that's how you create this. Now, the only thing that is a problem with this is it shows up sort of snappy, and you can fade this in. So to make it fade in, I'm going to double click on the track, and I'm going to go to the beginning of this, and I can open up the Effect Controls panel. If you don't see the Effects Control, just go to Window and choose Effect Controls, and you can hide it and bring it back. So Effect Controls looks like it's permanently stuck on. So I'm going to go to the beginning of the track of the clip, and I'm going to go forward by 10 frames. So it's currently at 120. Let's go to 130. That's 1 second, 30 frames. And so now we're going to go to this one, and we're going to set the opacity value to 100%. So we're keyframing it there, and the keyframe holds a value. So if we roll back to the beginning of the clip and change that to 0, now we have a nice fade in. Lovely. If you have the right part selected, let's see if I got the right part selected. I feel like I don't. Yeah, I don't. So let's go all the way back to the beginning here. Set that to 0. So it should fade in. Yep, there we go. That's nice. Now you can actually take these two keyframes and duplicate them. So I'm going to take the first one over here, the 0 value, and copy it. I'm going to go all the way to the end and paste. And I can take this one and copy it and back off by 10 frames. So now I'm going to go 608, just basic math, and paste. So now I've got paste in there. Let's take this one, copy. Not working, paste, there we go. So now we're going to fade in and fade out. So that's how we make a lower thirds happen. That's what we'll be using for news production.